Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As you see, I'm here to talk about the Steelers game this weekend. We have our buddy from the channel, Rav. I call him Rav. I don't know why, but I do. It kind of stuck. How you doing today, buddy?
Oh, can't complain, sir. At all good. Just digging out of this snow here in Virginia, and we're gonna have snow on Sunday for the game. Yeah, so getting back to normal here after the new year and everything that's going on.
Did you guys get a lot of snow this morning?
We had none today. There was 10 inches of snow the last 2 days, so the kids were home from school Monday and Tuesday, and then they were 2 hour delay today. And I went back to work. Even my office was closed today because we do a lot with Washington D.C., which was pretty much shut down. So yeah.
Nice, nice. So, Rav, obviously, you've had a lot of time to think about this game, look at this game coming up on Saturday, the AFC wild card weekend. We get the closeout game on Saturday night. This is back-to-back closeout games for the Steelers on Saturday night. Obviously, we know our playoff record isn't that good. I went back and rechecked my shit today. Do you know that two of our playoff wins have come on 6 field goals exactly in each game by Chris Boswell?
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either. I forgot. I knew that, but I forgot about it. But so we won 18-12 and 18-16.
I don't know when it happened when Boswell was the better kicker of the two kickers compared to Tucker. Like as far as the season is at, Boswell has been lights out the last 2 years, and Tucker has really struggled here down the stretch. So yeah, I don't know when that happened.
He seems to be getting it back together though.
Yeah, he looks the last few weeks. He's looked really good. He's looked like more like the Tucker. He was shanking a few. He looked a little out of sync for the first time ever we've seen him. Like this was
He's probably
Justin Tucker.
thankful this game's not in Pittsburgh though.
He used to kick very well in Pittsburgh. Even in Pittsburgh,
He did not kick well this year in Pittsburgh.
No,
for sure.
he's really struggled.
Yeah, so we have 3 playoff wins since the Super Bowl, and 11 that we lost.
Right.
Like I said, 2 games where we scored 18 points exactly in both of them. We beat Kansas City in one of those, and then we beat Cincinnati in the other one. And yeah, we're now at 8 years since we last won a playoff game. It's kind of doubtful. It's kind of doubtful. I don't care. Them winning seasons is going to get the what Canton is. It's an I place. It's not a we place. You don't get in for your teams, and you get in for the I. So of course, Tomlin's going to get in for sure. I mean, that's already a lock, I believe, don't you?
Right. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Without the question.
But he hasn't done anything in the postseason in Pittsburgh, and that's starting to get to a lot of people. A lot of people, I don't care what the media says. A lot of people are starting to feel it. They know it. They're like, what is going on here? It's all over the town. I mean, even the fan finally broke down and said, this is like Tomlin has to win. I mean, there's talks of doing what Gruden did in Oakland and get traded somewhere. There's talks of this today. I don't know if you got a chance to see any of that.
I was going to ask you that if you hadn't bring it up. Yeah, I was going to ask you if you think where you think the Steelers are all on that.
I don't know. Hey, if money talks, buddy. Money talks. I don't care. I don't know. Everyone believes that Tomlin doesn't want anyone above him, and it doesn't want anyone of like. That's why Arthur Smith's now talking to someone came in and said, "Hey, can we talk to Arthur Smith?" I don't recall what team though. So even he's getting looked at. I don't really call that like Tomlin's coaching tree. If you're here a year,
no, not really.
Leave.
Yeah.
And you leave. That's not a coaching tree. Like I also saw today that San Francisco reached out to Shala and said, "Hey, we're going to offer you a contract if you want to come back to San Francisco." I don't know if you saw that today or not.
I did not see it where they did. So they offering him a deal.
They're going to let him make the decision, because with the vacancy still out there, they're going to let him see if anyone wants him, and if not, they're going to offer him the defense coordinator job back.
Yeah, they struggled in some areas this year, so yeah, it's not a big surprise. I'm gonna say this to you, Steelers fans. And you said before we started there, you said you sound like a Raven fan because you've been killing the Steelers. So people think you're a Raven fan because you're killing the Steelers so bad. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I don't think you Steelers fans. It was kind of like the conversation I had with Ryan Day last night. You do understand
66-4, and they want to get rid of him. That's funny.
You do understand that any team in the league would take Mike Tomlin as a head coach. I mean,
That's
what
fine.
he's been able to do the last 5 years with no QB, because he's had no QB. That's the issue. There's nothing wrong with Mike Tomlin. It's just he doesn't have a Hall of Fame quarterback anymore, Ben Roethlisberger, that he can just fix all of his problems. So he's been able.
Yeah, but we only won 3 playoff games with Ben after we went to the Super Bowl and lost to Green Bay.
When Roethlisberger was there in his prime,
right? That was
they were at the top of the NFL pretty much. The latter years, the last 2-3 years, I almost don't even count that. He wasn't the same player. He was out for a year. That was, and that's essentially where you've been. Then you had Kenny Pickett, that didn't work, and now you got Russell. But they've been in the playoffs still most of the year. All I'm saying to you guys, it could get far worse. It can get far worse. Look what's going on right now in New England. I mean, they're a complete mess. A complete mess in New England.
Right. I agree. I see everyone's point, but at the same time, it's just gone stale.
Fair enough. If I'm gonna say this though, if I'm him, I don't know why I want to stay. That's kind of like where I am with Tomlin. If I'm him, and this is just more how I am in business. If I have every team in the league, like we said, like who would be interested in me as a coach, I don't want to look at that. He doesn't really seem to want to. He doesn't really seem to want to leave Pittsburgh for whatever reason. I don't know what the reason would be. I mean, certainly the Bears' job. If they had Mike Tomlin as coach, I mean, if I'm him, I'm looking at that, man. I mean, that's a good. I mean, he's got a young quarterback, or anywhere with a young quarterback. If I'm him, I'm taking a look at that.
Got people walking around in the background. I saw him.
Mother-in-law. Yeah.
I don't know. He's going to make, like I said, he's going to go in the Hall of Fame. Whether or not he ever gets above 500 again in the playoffs, who knows? He's under 500. And that, I guess playoffs really don't count for the Hall of Fame for some reason.
I think, but getting to the playoffs every year is something. That's something. And look, Ravens fans with Harbaugh are kind of the same. I'm telling you, he loses this game Sunday, they're going to be calling for his head. I mean, last year when they lost that championship game to Kansas City, you get fired for a couple of reasons, Hurricane. You get you lose the locker room, the players, which I don't think's happened. You lose the media, local media. I mean, because owners listen to the talk radio and that stuff, and you lose the fans, which is kind of almost to the same thing. You got fans just. I've seen that too many times. He's losing the media and the fans in Baltimore, and if he loses this game, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I mean, when he started out 0-2, I mean, it was all I could do every day. Fire Harbaugh, fire Harbaugh, fire Harbaugh.
Did you know the chances when they were 0-3 that it was like 11% chance to win the division?
It's not very good, whatever it was. I didn't know the percentage, but whatever it is.
It was low. I thought it was like 11, 12%, something like that. So they overcame mad odds and won the division. To a Steeler team that all you had to do was win one game. And we went and we hit that 10-win mark and we said, "Oh, we're over 500. Oh, we're done." This team looks like they've shut down completely once they got Tomlin's record.
They're overachieved. The Steelers are overachievers. They
But
have
I
their offense is very middle of the road. There's no real studs on offense at all. Defensively, you're very good, but you're not great. You know, Watt's good, Hayward's really good, Mick is really good.
my son.
Steelers a wash.
He's already on a 2-hour delay for tomorrow, so I told him I was having a show, and he's like, "Oh, I'll watch it." Good evening, Joshua. Uh, but it's just like all we had to do was win one game, and we couldn't do it. Like all year I said, okay, we played the cheesiest first half of this schedule, and the back end was where we were going to get killed. And you see what happens when we played playoff teams. We could not win.
Well, you lost to Philly, you lost to the Ravens, you lost to
Kansas City,
Kansas City.
and we lost to the Bengals, who
Cincinnati.
were fighting for a playoff chance.
I mean, Cincinnati is a better team than Pittsburgh is. I just said this on my podcast. Cincinnati is better than the Steelers are today, but that doesn't matter if because the Bengals created their own headache. They're 1-5 starting the season. That's on them. You can't start out 1-5 every year, and Tomlin gets off to a good start every year and is able to squeak in. That's what's going on.
Squeak in is what they did. I just don't feel this matchup's good for the Steelers. I just don't.
What do you do at quarterback? Do you put Fields in?
I've been saying it all year. Russ is starting to wear down like Flacco did again, like he looked against Cleveland. He looked great, and he only played 4 games. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, that 5th game was playoff time, and he looked like a worn out duck. He was throwing the ball flat. He was throwing under throws. He just wasn't himself. And I just kind of looked like age finally caught up to him after 5 starts in the NFL.
I think that's been the case with Russell for the last several years. He's not been the same player. Everybody thought that was like an idiot trade that the Seahawks made when they let him go. I mean, they didn't work out. He goes to Denver. He loses. He doesn't have a good season. He's not good. He's a little better next year, but Sean Payton said this ain't gonna work. You got to go. He paid him $1 zillion to leave, and he goes to Pittsburgh. Probably his best chance to start. He doesn't start. He's hurt, and then he plays well for a couple games, wins a few games, and then when they need him, he hasn't done anything. He's just not the same guy. I think. I think you got to play Fields if I'm them. I think that's if they want to win this game. I'd be putting Fields in. I don't understand. I don't know what you're going to get from Russell. The reason you play Russell too is Pickens. You get the deep ball, but I don't even know about that anymore. The way Pickens has been acting, I don't even know if he's going to play much in this game or whatever. If he's still in Tomlin's doghouse or whatever.
Pickens has been well off everything lately. You got a young lady walking the street behind you there, Rap.
Yeah. I'm actually literally doing this. I don't have an office anymore right now, so I'm literally doing this right in the middle of the table. So that's why people keep walking past as well. So that's why, I used to have in my old I had an office there, where nobody would ever. But now, I'm in the middle of everything.
You need to develop a little curtain room.
Yeah.
Let it be like a little green room for yourself.
Yeah.
I just don't feel these Steelers are gonna be. I mean, another stat too. I don't know if you noticed. The Steelers have given up over 30 points in pretty much every game that they've lost.
I think they kind of go as the defense goes too. I think they don't have enough on offense to really overcome that. They kind of go as the defense goes. There's probably games Watts missed and all that, etc. Or you're playing Kansas City, you're playing ball, you're playing good offenses. Cincinnati, they're going to score points. You're not going to just shut them down to zero the whole game.
Zay Flowers is out, right?
I don't think Flowers plays in this game. No.
Is he going to dress?
We don't know yet. I mean, he's missed practice 2 games. I mean, word is he's in a walking boot. So if I had to bet money on it, I'd say no. We're not going to hit Flowers on the field Sunday.
So that means Isaiah likely is going to have a huge game because everyone's going to forget about him.
Bateman was the guy I was talking about stepping up. Ken Bateman actually handled being the guy that's getting the double teams and getting more attention and all that. Andrews was the guy I had spotlighted as well. Andrews, I think, it's going to go back to the way it was without Zay on the field, actually targeting more Andrews. That's kind of what you saw in the game last week when Flowers went out.
I think this is going to be a run game. I think Derrick Henry is going to have a huge day. They figured if Harbaugh sticks to the script that he ran last time, Henry is, and now that Mitchell's looking a little better too, and got some more games under him after coming back from the injury, I think those two are going to be difficult to stop for these Steelers.
I do worry about. I think everybody's kind of forgetting, even though we did lose, the edge rush to the Steelers gives the Ravens gives Lamar a lot of trouble. Even in the game they won, he does not outrun those edges, and that really is the one thing that really bugs me. Highsmith, Preston Smith, T.J. Watt, Lamar, he has a hard time with that. So yeah, they're gonna need a good game from Henry inside to go ahead and get that squared away. He does not outrun those guys on the edges easy like that. And the secondary Steelers, you can say whatever you want. Like they play zone like all the time. They play a good zone all the time, keep that lane integrity all the time.
Yes, they do. I mean, could it be a Steeler win? Who knows? I mean, we have lost 4 in a row, so who knows?
I do think the Ravens, getting the Ravens is, I don't say it was a better matchup than playing Houston. It wasn't, but at least it's familiar for them. They're not going to be, even though they've lost 4 straight games, they're playing a team they're very familiar. They understand in the division. There's no surprises here, right? It's definitely something that they're familiar with. They're not going to be intimidated. They've been at M&T many times. No surprises here. So I'm sure they like that part of it. Coaches especially like that stuff. They don't like to be surprised and not know what's going on. They're going to know everything that's going on.
I understand we just played just 2 weeks ago, but I think it could run like the same plays and still give us a hell of a problem because we couldn't stop it. We couldn't stop it. I mean, it didn't matter. Man. It didn't matter what we did. We couldn't stop it. I mean, I'm serious. We couldn't stop it.
It's Derrick Henry, though, too. It's Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, but you got to understand this. The Steelers held Henry to 65 yards in almost every game they played against him until that breakout. It might be 85. I'm not sure. 65 or 85, one of the two. But it was under 100. But it was under 100. And that was the first 100-yard game, I believe, Henry had against us. That's unusual. Henry runs over people. Same way the Steelers have contained Lamar, for the most part. It's still Lamar. At some point, he's going to play well against the Steelers, and that's kind of what that reminded me of. But I agree. The run strategy, got to do it. Can't forget that you run the ball. A lot of teams, it's not just Steelers and Ravens. A lot of teams forget to run the football in games. It's odd. They forget. I see teams forget to run the football, and they forget to play man-to-man on defense. They all play zone now. I rarely see a whole. I mean, the Steelers have never done it anyway. I'm not, because that's not a great example. But teams they don't want to play man-to-man at all on defense, and they don't forget to run. They just keep running. See it all the time.
I just And Jalen Warren, if he gets going, he could be tough.
I,
He's a
I I
little bully.
really, I
He's a
really
little
don't
bowling ball.
know. I don't know why he's not starting over Najee Harris. Um, I don't. With Najee Harris, I don't see it. He'd be the biggest star in 1987. Like he's not really explosive. I mean, he's a good power runner, good in between the tackles. He bounce out a little bit, got some speed. Doesn't catch the ball out of the backfield well. Doesn't block well, especially for his size. Um, I don't. And Warren comes in and does all those things. He's just not as strong, but I don't get it.
I expected more from Najee on a contract year.
The funny thing is he's probably still gonna get a decent contract somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know where he's gonna go. I could see him going to Dallas.
I can see that one.
I could see him. I could see him possibly going back home to San Francisco.
I think Dallas is definitely one. Yeah.
As far as that goes, but then again, someone might say, "Let's take a shot at him," and like we might end up in Miami. Imagine A-Chain and Harris in the backfield instead of Mostart and A-Chain.
I think Dallas is definitely one. I think New England's going to be in play for a lot of people because they have a lot of money. They got
but does anyone want to go there? That's the problem. Does anyone want to go there? I mean, Brandon Ayuk was about to get paid big time, and he said he didn't want to go to New England.
Well, no, New England's terrible.
Right. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Is anyone going to want to go there?
I think that's why they're getting Vrabel and they fired Mayo. I mean, they did Mayo dirty in my opinion.
Well, they brought him in for a year. They're like, we talked about this last night.
Yeah.
And just to let everyone know, last night we still went on. Like after everyone left, me and Jeremy ended up inviting some of his people on last night. We went for another hour and a half.
I mean, you invite him in, you fire him, you don't give him anything, and then you fire. They should have never hired him in the first place. They should have never hired him in the first place. I think they didn't want to hire him. I think he had it in by contract. That once Belichick retired, fired, whatever, by contract, he was the next head coach. And so they had to make him the coach. But they didn't really want to. I didn't think they think Vrabel would be available. And then when he was, that's what they wanted to do.
Right?
Wasn't right. I think like the Raiders, I think that was a mess. I don't think that had anything with him to do, him being African American with the Raiders. Because the Raiders are just a mess, period. They're on their fourth coach in 3 years. I think New England, it factored in a little bit. I think like there was some of that. But
who's going to end up as the Raiders coach? I mean, someone's going to take the job, right?
I have no clue what they're going to do in Las Vegas. They're a mess. they're. I mean, I heard Deion Sanders rumor. They have a high draft pick, so maybe you take Shador with them. I don't know, man. I got nothing for you with what the Raiders are ever gonna do is not. I got no idea.
I have no idea either. I thought you might have read something or saw something.
They're totally. I think the Patriots, they're gonna go with Vrabel, and the Jets are probably in the no idea category as well.
At least the Patriots going with Vrabel brings back a guy that's familiar with the team, familiar with the area, has some Super Bowls with him, and now he's got some coaching under him, and now you bring him back.
Yeah, I mean, it's a guy who's got some experience, understands, the winning ways, what they want to get to. He's had his own success as a coach, etc. I think he actually lives still in Foxborough. So it makes a lot
Really?
of sense.
I didn't know that. Sorry.
Yeah, I think he actually still lives in from when he was a player. So I think he actually still, if he doesn't live there full time, he definitely has a house there still. From what I heard in Foxborough. So I think that
Makes
would be a
total
good.
sense.
Yeah,
This makes total sense then.
I think that's why they fired Mayo. I don't think they thought Vrabel would be there. That's why you don't. He kept his word. He wanted to keep his word. He had a contract. What he should have done is, we're hiring Vrabel from the beginning. Here's your money. Like, if that's what you wanted to do anyway, you wasted a whole year with Mayo, and that's not what you wanted to do.
Right. But Vrabel wasn't available at this time, so they had to do something.
I think he was available last year. They just had to hire Mayo by contract once they fired Belichick.
Gotcha. I didn't understand all that, but all right. I didn't read very deep, I guess. I did want to ask you. I did want to ask you real quick. The passing of Brian
Brian
your
Mattis.
pitcher. Yeah.
Brian Mattis.
Did they release anything on him? What happened? He was only 37. He's about to be 38. What, next month?
I don't know anymore in terms of like the why. I was looking for that all day long, and I didn't see anything released as far as Mattis is, as far as what happened. Definitely wasn't of natural causes, from what I understand. I mean, he was only 37 years old. I know Mattis was an outstanding prospect. He never really became.
I heard he held David Ortiz to a 138 average. Did you hear that?
Yes, he did. He was an outstanding prospect. He was good for a couple years. He was good in the bullpen for a while, and he was a very highly sought out prospect. Never really became an elite starter like he had hoped, because he was like a top 100 prospect at one point. But yeah, it's unfortunate what happened with Brian Mattis dying so young. I'm a lot older than he is. I'm getting old.
I just saw it this morning and was like, what? But I was like, well, maybe they said something like in your neck of the woods because you're down that way, and I figured I would ask.
I hadn't heard any more on Mattis as well, but it's just sad when you see a young person like that pass on, like at the age of 37. So yeah, thoughts and prayers or with his family.
Thoughts and prayers to all the people in Los Angeles too. Huh.
Yeah, man,
that is a mess.
You don't want me to talk politics, so I'll leave it alone. But we're getting messed.
I just wanted to say I'm thinking of the people.
Yeah, I'm just.
I did see a good humanity video today. It was a guy saving a rabbit in the fire. He ran in and grabbed it.
These fires have been going on for a minute in LA.
Yeah, this one's out of control.
I mean, this has been the last 7 or 8 years. It's getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse with these fires. You said Sunset Boulevard is completely gone, or whatever.
I just talked to Gina. Gina's safe. Jason's safe. Rod, who used to be on the show with Gina whenever they were here doing their Niners show. Gina told me that Rod's family lost their houses, but they're okay. But yeah. So, oh man, yeah, we might. I really. I just want to say I'm glad that they're okay, and
I am too.
Yeah, I'm not getting into politics on this either, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Let the other people in the world deal with that stuff there.
Hey,
anyway, Ravens Steelers being streamed on Prime. That is my least favorite channel for the NFL, Amazon Prime.
You can watch it on Twitch, just to let you know.
Watch it where?
You can watch it on Twitch if you have you can make a Twitch account and watch it.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, I do it. I'll do it all the time because we have a Twitch account here, and I don't know why we're not streaming on Twitch right now. I'm confused. I thought I had it lined up on Twitch. I don't know where Twitch went.
Oh, okay.
Oh, horrible producer here. Horrible.
I think they're also the worst of the NFL. Um, of the I just don't like the prime as much as the whole team. Al Michaels is pretty good still. Herbie's still good. I think they're not as good at production and all that. It's I don't like Prime as a channel. I'm not gonna go too far into that, but like that's the worst of like Netflix. I like because you buy Netflix and you get everything on Netflix, right? Anything that I want on Netflix. With Amazon, you got to buy this, you got to pay for this, you got to not get this, you got to get extra this and all that. I don't particularly like that stuff. But you should be able to get the football game if you have Prime.
Yeah, like I said, if you go on Twitch or have a Twitch account, you can log in and watch it. But I think if you have local, I think if local like KDKA, like last time they were on Prime, they aired it on local channels at home. I don't know if they're
Yeah.
gonna do that down your side or not, but that's how I watched the last game.
They've done that for forever. Like ESPN games, they used to do it too. I don't know. I don't know personally as far as the ESPN games. I usually just watch it on ESPN nowadays, but like they used to like if it's an ESPN game, then like Channel 11 used to show it in Baltimore or whatever. They would make sure the over the air networks would able to play it where it would still play it.
Right. But yeah, back to the game. Let's get back to the game. Let's get back to this game. So, are you saying we're getting a lot of snow in Baltimore, or what?
Well, you've already got snow. You already had 8 inches of snow and all that other stuff, and it's going to snow on Saturday for sure. So definitely it's going to, I don't know about when game time temperatures and all that other stuff, but it's going to be very cold and snowy on the field when the game. I can look that up for you.
So, who does that more favor a running game like we saw James Cook when they were playing San Francisco, where James Cook ended up running like crazy in the snow? Would that favor more towards Henry?
It absolutely favors a running game, whoever that favors. I think both teams, I don't think, I would say more if they were playing Miami, it'd be a huge advantage for the Ravens. I think with the Steelers, they have a better run game than the Steelers, but I don't think it'll bother the elements and all that's not going to bother Pittsburgh, right? I mean, it's Pennsylvania. I mean, it is cold in Pennsylvania all the time, so I don't think it'll bother the Steelers. But yeah, it depends on how bad snow gets. Can you see out there? Is it a whiteout? Is like this? Can you not pass it at all? Is it going to have rain, sleet? All that factors in. But again, it's not going to bother Pittsburgh.
Do you think we're going to get Do you think we're going to get an early version of this matchup because it's snowing? Hard hitting, ground pounding, just going at it.
I don't think you're going to get the 2008, 2009 version of it like I would like to see, simply because we're in different times now. I think you'll see a modified version of that. More running than you would, but I don't think you're going to see the Palomalu, Ryan Clark era, Ray Lewis era, where it's just okay. It's snowing, it's cold.
Dude. That was the badass time.
I don't think you're going to get that. I don't think you have that anymore. But you are going to get more Derrick Henry than you are. I think you see less long balls, etc. in this game.
All right. I want to know. I think we're going to go about 45 minutes tonight. Is that good? Because you probably have to go to work in the morning or whatever.
Yes.
Yes. And I know last night we went a little longer than normal, like with us normal people, and then we just ended up going extra long. We did. We stopped before we stopped at both championship games. Just to let you know, we didn't do Super Bowl predictions. We went to the final four. We went to the final four and stopped.
Right.
But we had Kansas City and Buffalo, and then the other side was Eagles and Detroit.
Right.
and that's where we stopped.
I actually enjoyed that stream. I think like not producing it is kind of cool too. Like on my channel, like I'm doing like everything. I'm producing it. I'm figuring it out or whatever. So yeah, this is kind of like well, I don't have to do nearly as much. It seems
No,
like yeah.
I know Jeremy has a big following, and I don't know how he does it, but he does a show every day. So when actually you have your groupies, so that's why Jeremy, whenever he pops on, we get that nice all those nice comments, and Jeremy's good with the channel too. He likes it. But I like it. I like it too, because we all can hit the comment button. We all don't have to keep looking over there. Is that more like what you're talking about?
Yeah. I don't have to do all that. I hit the comment button, hit the slides, and all that other stuff. I don't have to. Yeah.
So it's nice. It's
At
nice.
some point, you're gonna see more content on my channel going for. Not, I don't know about every day, but we're gonna start moving into interviews. We're gonna talk a little bit now when football season is over about sports media, where it's going. We all know what happened with the Joy Taylor thing and all that. I'm sure you heard about that at FS1.
Yes, Josh, you bring in good comments, buddy. I was just saying with Jeremy, Jeremy brings a crowd. All right, Jeremy brings a crowd with him because he has a big following. He goes live every day, Josh.
Yeah. So,
and if I had more time, I would talk sports every day, but I don't have more time.
Oh, I talk sports every day, whether I have a channel or not. That's why I started a channel.
Right. I talk sports at work, but I can't just break down and go live at work and be like, here we go.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I can't sit down like this at work and have a great conversation with people.
Yeah. I hear you, but yeah. So
I know I'm working in the grapevine right now, and I've been talking to a couple people, and we got some stuff lined up for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know about every day though. I don't know what else he does where he can be on every day, but it's hard. It's kind of hard for me to go on every day, every single day. That's a lot. But what more you're gonna see? You're definitely gonna see more and different content here. Definitely once the football season ends, it's kind of gonna start. It's gonna. I think rebrand is too strong, but like after the Super Bowl Sunday, you're gonna see different stuff. Than what we're doing, than what we're in addition to what else we're doing.
I know, and we're growing channel, and we just want to grow and see where it goes. So I'm good. I'm glad for that. But anyway, Raph, let's get back to this. Obviously, you're listening to what's going on here. 2025. This is my second show of the year, so. I feel I'm a little bit behind the ball, but that's all right. I'm okay with that. Like I said, Rich got sick, so my co-host went down, so can't always run my Pittsburgh shows. And people don't like talking sports on podcasts around here. I've learned this over the last two years now.
I'm gonna tell you a secret, and I'm a Ravens guy, and I've been Ravens fan all my life. I love Pittsburgh Steelers fan podcasts. Who are the two guys? What are their names? The twins. Yeah, I love those guys. They're completely irrational. Like
the twins,
the Steel Twins. Have you heard of them?
No.
They're like completely irrational. They make no sense at all. It's hilarious. I love it. They're ready to fire Tomlin every week. Like
everyone's, I'm not the only one. And Rich gets really fired up about it, but I am not the only one. I'm not the only one.
Yeah, no. Oh no. Well, I started watching like for research purposes, the game. So like what's the best way to learn about the opponent? I almost always do the opponent that's coming up. Like, so I'm knowing more about the England or whoever it is we're playing, by watching the Steelers podcast or whatever podcast. And I gotta admit, those guys are pretty funny. Shout them out, their channel. Like DK,
send me their link and send me their Twitter handle, and
they're completely irrational. Cleveland fans are good too. They're just like last night on the pod, like he wants to fire Ryan Day, and he wants to like not draft a quarterback. Like, like what are we doing? Oh, so that's
Okay,
Brown
so
fans are a
so I
different
started
animal.
thinking. I started thinking about them not wanting to draft a quarterback, and it makes total sense because of their history.
Yeah, but how do you win like that? Yeah, I'm
I
not picking.
obviously,
I'm not picking
obviously,
on him. I'm not
have
picking
they
on.
won? No, have they won
No,
by
they have
drafting
not.
a quarterback?
No, they
So
have not.
so so Evan does have a point. I did think about it a little bit after the show. I was like, huh. I was like, Evan does have a point here.
No, but I'm not picking on him. But that's kind of my point. I've seen that everywhere. They all kind of think that it's like that. How do you win when you don't have like with Deshaun Watson or whoever it is? You have like no shot, none.
No,
There's no way. Like you can't. You're not even competitive. Nothing. There's no chance of anything. Like with the way. So you might as well try. Even the Steelers, like they took Pickett in
at 20,
at
and they
20.
probably could have got him. They probably could have got him late second, early third.
You could,
Late.
yeah, and that's fine. Like you could, if you're the Browns, you want to take Carson Beck or Milrow or Ewers or
Why wouldn't you want to
whoever.
take Daniels?
Hmm?
Why is
Or
everyone not taking Gabriel?
Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
I don't think he's an NFL level guy in terms of that. He's
Not tall enough.
not big enough. I think he's kind of
Kyler Murray.
backup. Not even quite Colin Murray. That's the thing. He's not he doesn't have the howitzer. He doesn't really run that well. He's had some success in college, but I think like the best case scenario for like a Dylan Gabriel would be like a Tua Tagovailoa. Like if he's in the perfect spot, maybe you
Well,
pick
Tua
him.
might be not in the perfect spot if Tyreek now stay there.
Yeah, but you know what I mean when I say it. Like or Brock Purdy. Like if he's got enough around him, maybe he'll surprise you for a little. But he's not a stud. He's not
Right.
like a Shador and Cam Ward. You could put them in like immediately on a bad team. They're gonna start on a bad team.
We'll see. We'll see. Do you think Carson Beck's ready? I know he played for Georgia, but like it looked like he had a lot of underthrown balls too.
I
Even when
don't.
he was healthy, before the injury,
I think he's
like there was
hurt.
a lot of underthrown balls from Carson Beck.
I think he was injured. I think that was some of it. I think he's a second round or whatever. I don't know if he's going to be ready to play anyway at the start of next season. So I don't know if he plays anyway. So he might be injured anyway. But Beck, I only think it's two guys early, Shador and Cam Ward. That's it. I don't think there's anybody else you or like maybe a Milrow later or something like that, depending on the coach, depending on who you like.
Right.
Maybe somebody like if Todd Monken, who actually was a Georgia coach, gets back, maybe a little bit earlier or something like that. But
Familiarized.
yeah.
Anyway, Brad, what are you thinking? What are you thinking score wise?
I think think about what I said. I said about 35-21 Ravens. I think that's what I said. 35-21, something like that. I think it's close for first quarter and a half, and I think the Ravens run game kind of wears them down a bit. And I think that's what happens. They'll get some passes, they'll get some Andrews in it as well. I do worry a little bit about the edge rush of the Steelers, especially in bad weather. That's always a factor when you have weather like that. That's an X factor. You never know. Lamar has not played well in really cold games. If you want something as a Steelers fan, he has not played well at all. He's from Miami. He played at Louisville, and he struggled in a lot of these really January games where it's really cold.
Forgot to ask. Did week 17 week 18 excite you with the schedule changes? How they set that all up? Did that motivate you to want to watch a little more?
I think it kind of worked against the Ravens. What I would have liked to have seen, and I know why they didn't do it, is the Steelers go first, so we know that we would have won the division or whatever, and then they could have rested players. They didn't do it because everybody wants to see the Steelers. The Steelers are a national draw, and the Ravens aren't. That's why they did it. The Steelers are on at 8 o'clock. There's more Steeler fans, I think, than there are Ravens fans by a wide margin, and that's why they had it.
Do you think the opponent hurt them too?
The Browns or
Yeah. Do you think that cost them the 8 o'clock spot?
Yeah, the Browns aren't very good either. I think I do think that's
and you had Cincinnati obviously playing for a playoff spot, and you had Pittsburgh still trying to just hang on to anything.
And I'm surprised they played players, honestly, too. I don't know why they didn't. I don't know why they were even playing players. I'd have been resting players if I was them.
To the Steelers?
Yeah, I don't know why you were even. You weren't going to win the division. You weren't going to win the division.
I think because it looked like Tomlin still wanted to try and play Houston instead of going to Baltimore.
You know what? It's funny you mentioned that. I think that was the case with the Chargers too. Both of those teams wanted Houston. The Chargers definitely did. They did not want to go to Baltimore. They wanted to play Houston in the playoffs.
Why not staying?
They played.
Who knows? Who knows what these fires? Who knows how effective these folks are going to be with the fire being near their homes in LA and everything else right now? I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Sure,
that's on their mind. They got a game there. They're supposed to have a game there on the Rams this weekend as well. So
that game's in SoFi. I wonder if that game's going to be moved to it would have to be moved to a neutral site, right?
Yeah, they'd have to go to. I don't know where they would go. I would assume Oakland.
I would assume Glendale.
Glendale, yeah, maybe something like that.
Or would they move it up to
Coliseum?
Levi?
Maybe.
They move it up to Levi, where people might actually want to get away from all this crap.
Yeah, and again, you're more into what's going on in LA than I am. I haven't really seen much of it today, so I don't know.
But I forgot all about that game. Actually, watching all this crap.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I don't know how bad it is. But they tend not to want to reschedule games. So unless there's a way to, I'm kind of thinking if there's a way to play it, and it might not be obviously, that they're going to play it. They generally NFL does not want to. That's a lot of money they're losing to reschedule a playoff game.
I get it, but there's things called circumstances.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, but circumstances. You know what trumps circumstances? Money. You gotta give that.
Yeah, but if all these people are worried about their home and not all of a sudden showing up to the game,
I hear you. I hear you. I think if they have to, then they will, of course. But
right, I don't know how far spread this thing is. I know nothing about the map of California. I know you got San Francisco, you got Fresno, then you got LA, and now you got my dog. So then it goes Anaheim and then San Diego, I believe. I'm just going with the big cities. I don't know all the other ones.
I've never been there, so I don't know.
I've never been there either.
Yeah,
I've been on Interstate 5 up in Portland and Seattle, which ran all the way down the coast. So I've been on that highway, but I've never been. That's the farthest I've been. I've been that far west, but I've never been southwest, as we would say.
I've been to Texas. But I've never been to California. I don't know how bad it is. But yeah, I just think that'll be a last resort. But yeah, if it's bad as you say, it's possible that they could cancel or reschedule.
I've been to Phoenix. I've been to. That's my dog's name, so that's why she's looking at me. That was cool though, driving out of Texas and through New Mexico, and all of a sudden you look up and it's 112 on the ground, and all of a sudden you look up and you're seeing the end of the Rockies right there, and there's snow on top of the mountain. And it's 112 down on the ground. I thought that was one of the most neat things I've ever seen. Texas
is one of the hottest. You're in the chat there, they're saying Malibu's affected, which doesn't surprise me. Texas is one of the hottest places in the world. Oklahoma and Texas. I was actually stationed there. It's beyond hot in those places. I don't see how anybody lives there. It's 110 every day, all summer.
I don't see how people live there either, man. Especially working in the airport on that tarmacs.
I mean, when I got off the plane in Oklahoma City, I mean that was the first thing on my mind. The third and fourth thing, it's like, man, it's hot. I mean, just getting off the plane. I haven't done anything yet. I'm getting off the plane. It's like, whew, it's hot out here. And that was 2 months ago.
I've been to Oklahoma. I drove through there. Yeah, I've been to like every state except for like the Dakotas and California, I think.
Yeah.
And Minnesota. I've never been to Minnesota. Well,
cold.
I know. I never been to Milwaukee either.
Cold again. Anything north, like Buffalo, if you've ever been there, it's like freezing all the time. You go there in the summer, and I can only imagine how it's going to be in Orchard Park on a in January, because it's like you go in September and it's pretty cold. I was there in like September and it's like 50 degrees at night, 40 degrees at night in September. So in January, I can only imagine like how cold it's going to be in the coldest part of the year.
I do want to do a road trip whenever they shut the falls down.
Are they shutting the falls down?
Yeah, they're going to revamp the water so they can get in there and spray everything and clean it.
Oh.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, it's with they did it in 1969, I believe, was the last time they did it.
Okay.
But if you go look at the pictures, it's just something you have to see. Like they literally direct the falls to go a different way, and they shut it all down, and they get in there and they clean everything.
Yeah.
So it looks like something fascinating to see, actually. So who is your player of the game?
I think easy to say Lamar, so I'm not going to say Lamar. I think the player of the game, I think, is going to have to be Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, I think, is going to be the key to this thing. The Ravens' run game is going to be the key to the thing. If you have Derrick Henry they're going to have to be able to run the ball if they want to actually hold up the Lombardi Trophy. Beating Pittsburgh, beating most likely Buffalo. I mean, if they beat Denver, and beating Kansas City, you're gonna have to run the ball. You can't go through a playoff game, championship game, and forget that to run the ball. You brought Derrick Henry in because you forgot to run the ball. So Derrick Henry in this game, absolutely setting the tone for the rest of the playoffs.
And if things do play out, we could see the Harbaughs in the AFC Championship game.
I'd love to see that. I think that's a tough
or we
matchup
could
for the
see him the
Ravens.
second, or we could see him the second week if Denver pulls the upset.
I think that would be a major upset if Denver actually was to beat Buffalo. I think, but look, this is house money with Denver. I'm shocked that they're in the playoffs. I mean, considering what happened last year and everything that went on, Sean Payton's a made man in Denver for pulling this off. I'm shocked.
Everyone was writing him off last year, like fire him, get rid of him. And then all of a sudden, maybe they weren't saying that, but it seemed like the media was saying that.
Wasn't getting a lot of love. Didn't look like it was working,
not.
And definitely he did. And again, I don't want to beat Cleveland up too bad, but that's what you got to do. You got to start. You got Bo Nix. You got Baby Breeze, Bo Nix. You got his guy that he can build. He knows exactly what the plan was.
Right. They have a defense. They got a pretty good defense too.
Defense is very disciplined. They don't have a lot of good players on defense, but
they're coming off a lot of confidence right now in that beating of Kansas City.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter in football. It doesn't matter who you beat. You still beat that team. So you run on that motivation, and they're still running high. I mean, everyone's going to look on paper and see they beat the shit out of the Chiefs 42-0.
Mm-hmm. Brian Billick said all the time, you got in, that's all that matters.
Right.
Who cares? Who cares how it happened? You're in, that's all that matters.
Josh, we know they were resting their starters, but they still run on motivation because they won. It's still a confidence booster, and they'll ride it. They'll see what happens.
They're in
Um,
now. They might see him again because of it too.
right.
You're resting your starters, like like if Denver wins, they go to Kansas City. Uh, um, can real quick, Kansas City. This is a long. We talked about it. This is a long layoff they're getting. They played on Christmas Day, and they're not gonna play this week.
Not going to
They're
play next week or last week.
They
Yeah,
didn't play
they're
last
off for
week.
almost 3 weeks.
They're probably going to get the Sunday game next week. So they're going to have like almost all like 20 plus days where they didn't play. That might factor in, especially playing if you play the Chargers, a good team, or Denver, who's beat them or who played them close earlier. You know, you never know.
I don't think Andy Reid's going to let them slack. He might have let them rest, but he's not going to let them slack once they get back to work.
I think they're built for this. I think a veteran team usually is. Rest is usually
So,
good for a
so
veteran team, but this is more. But this
I
is more than
also
usual.
I also started thinking about that, Rev. So, like, most teams start getting worn out after playing this long. They played almost every week except for their bye weeks and the bye for the last 2 years now, 3 years. So now all of a sudden you get all your starters rested, and they've all been here before. So I mean, this team could be these Chiefs could be coming out on fire.
I agree. I mean, it might go the other way. This is not nothing new for them. They've been playing longer than any other team. They played more games than any other team in the NFL because they keep going to the Super Bowl, keep going to the AFC Championship game. They get to the AFC Championship game. I think this is 9 in a row for the AFC Championship for them. So
You see what I'm saying? Like, this rest is huge for the Chiefs.
yeah, I got you. It helps because it helps. I think like a Travis Kelsey is going to help him. You know, long
Right.
season, older guy, banged up. Some of these guys are Joe Tooney, 30 plus years old. Yeah, it's going to help. But what my point is, this is longer than usual. Russ might kick in even still. I don't know, but I kind of lean more to what you're saying. That probably not, but that's a lot. It's more than usual.
I am taking Isaiah Likely as my player of the game this week. I'm with you. I'm thinking 35-17, 37-14, right in that range. I'm sorry, I just can't see it. But if Harbaugh, if the coach takes his foot off the gas and doesn't run the same game plan, it could be completely reversed.
Do you think Harbaugh? Do you think Tomlin has coached his last game as a Steeler coach on Saturday?
Unfortunately, not.
You think he stays regardless?
Unless Omar Khan has, you know, Omar Khan could have been setting him up all year, giving him everything he wanted. And like in his mind, if you don't get it done, he got the extension. He got every player he wanted almost. Got rid of all the players he wanted to. And I mean, sometimes when you give your head coach everything you want and you don't get anything in return,
I hear you.
we might have a party.
I,
I'm sorry.
I
I like I said, I like Tomlin. I just feel it's very stale here.
I don't, and I want to go back to the point. I don't know why he wants to stay, and that's just me. I'm a guy. I look at my options in life. I look at things that I want, other things I want to do. You know, I want to start my own. You know, I don't know why he needs to be in Pittsburgh so bad. That's kind of what it seems. Like why wouldn't you take? Why wouldn't you look at the Bears job? Why wouldn't you look at the Patriots job? Why wouldn't you look at, I mean, the Commander's job he could have had? He's from Virginia. You know, he could be coaching Jayden Daniels right now. You know, I'm not saying he wants to do any of that. I'm just surprised that he didn't at least give it some thought.
He might have.
because he has options. I mean, it's not like anybody wouldn't take it. Anybody wouldn't take it. They would, and a lot of teams would take it. I
All I'm,
would say half the teams in the league would get rid of who they had if they had a Mike Tomlin.
all I'm saying is the Ravens, if they lose, they beat themselves.
I think
But
the Ravens have only lost one game all year where I think a better team beat them, possibly, and that was the Eagles game, where the Eagles were just better than they were. But usually the Ravens, it's penalties, flags, most penalized team in the league, lots of flags, undisciplined stuff, stupid stuff. I mean that's it. I know that's kind of not what you meant there, but that's that is a factor as well. You got like a lot of penalties.
right, you know what I mean? Like the team beat themselves.
Yeah, I know. You have no confidence in the
and like that's what happened last year with you guys against the Chiefs. You guys beat yourselves.
I think like people were so shocked that I heard like a lot of the national media shocked at the game plan. I've seen him do that plenty. Like Harbaugh would forget to run the ball. That was my concern with the Derrick Henry signing. He doesn't like bell cow. Spread the runs around, see what the defense is doing. Doesn't like, that was my concern with it. He's finally got with the program this year. Hey, you got Derrick Henry, and he's got Derrick Henry, so Derrick Henry's not like everybody else. But run the ball 20 times a game, run the ball 25 times a game.
Right, kill the defense.
You got the best running quarterback in the history of the NFL.
Make them bring that six men in the box and then throw it.
Exactly right. I mean, I absolutely do that. That's what they didn't do in the game, and that's because he doesn't have. That's because John Harbaugh is just not doesn't like bell cow, doesn't like to give it to the same guy. Likes to. This year, I've seen a change. They're kind of dictating to the other team what they're doing. That's where I think the lesson he's learned, as opposed to last year, where forever, it was always just the flow of the game and all that stuff. No, you can't do that. If you're going to be an elite offense, you got to stop that. You got to be dictating the pace, dictating the tempo, and all that. That's how I got beat.
Right. Well, Rav, we've hit the hour mark. I need to do laundry. That's why I was like not rushing, but unfortunately I don't have anyone else to do laundry, and my dog doesn't know how to yet. But yeah, so we're both taking the Ravens, even though you see all the Steelers shit behind me. But like I said, if the Ravens lose, they beat themselves.
Right.
And I'm sticking to that line. I'm sticking to it. But anyway, Rav, it's been fun chatting with you for an hour. Are you doing your recap Saturday night?
Yeah. So we'll have instant reaction after the game is over around 11:30, or whenever the game ends. We'll definitely, no matter what the outcome is, instant reaction to the Steelers and
maybe I'll jump on if you want me to.
Yeah. So hopefully I'm still doing the games next week. We're going to recap the Steelers and the Ravens, and hopefully we're hoping for a divisional round game, and we'll go over all the playoffs. I'm going to stream on Super Bowl Sunday regardless of who's in it. If it is a Ravens game, we're going to have a whole lot of fun because we're going to be here for a while. But it'll just be a normal. I might do like a half hour, but we'll be streaming on Super Bowl Sunday. I usually do.
Nice. All right. How people get you, bud?
All right, so definitely check me out here at Ravery Sports Podcast here on YouTube, Ravery Sports on Twitch, and or Ravery Sports Podcast on Twitch, Ravery Sports on X as well. So definitely check me out on all of those platforms. We're gonna have a Ravery Sports Podcast on Wednesday night, every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock.
My son.
College football. Josh, we're going to be talking college football on the podcast next week because we got the playoff games as well. We're going to talk about that. And Dylan's channel, he's the guy, the college football guy. And also to who are top 10 lists, who are the best first basemen in MLB next week.
I can tell you there's going to be a guy named 22 on that list.
22.
22. 80s, 90s.
Oh, yeah, no. These are going into 2025.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
You're
So I
talking
was thinking,
about you're talking
I was
you're talking
thinking,
about you're talking about the great
you know
Will
who I was
Clark.
thinking of though?
You're talking about the great Will Clark.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
The
Yes, sir.
2022 sweetest swing ever, Will Clark. But yeah, but
I
2025.
am trying to get him on the podcast, obviously.
I'd love to.
I've been messaging him.
He's the best
And if
swing
he
I've ever
comes
saw.
on, I'll open the doors.
Best swing I ever saw, Will Clark.
Oh my gosh. Him and Jim Thome, man.
Tommy, I think, might be the most underrated player ever. He's a top 10 player that nobody talks about. He played on some great Indians teams.
He was good when we went to Philly too.
Yes. Tremendous
Dude,
career.
did you ever see the 95 lineup for the Indians?
Tremendous. Yes, I know all about that. You got Manny Ramirez. He was hitting like seventh. Tommy,
Yes,
Eddie Murray,
I couldn't believe it. I was laughing.
Tommy, Eddie Murray. I forget that I'm older than you. Like at time, like because I was around in '95. So like, it was. Tommy,
so I
Eddie
was
Murray.
drinking. I was hanging out up in my camp. I have a camp in Ashtabula. So I grew up listening to, obviously I was closer to Cleveland. So I grew up watching these Indians early, and Omar Vizquel at shortstop, awesome.
Yes.
And I mean Kenny Lofton was one of my favorite center fielders before like Juan Pierre came into the game and all them other guys. But Kenny Lofton was awesome. Lenny Dykstra was probably my favorite center fielder there.
Nails Dykstra, yeah. They were I told you like the Pirates were a dynasty that wasn't, so was the Cleveland Indians in that 90 group, man. They easily could have won 2 or 3 championships with the lineup.
Remember Jim Leland? Jim Leland beat him in '97, remember?
Yes, Jim Leland finally got his when he got to the Marlins, who were spending a lot of money. Which is why
whenever Mark gets back from his work trip, hopefully we can get him on again. He's a regular. He's an Indians guy. He did the PA for the Indians back in the '90s.
Yeah. They were excellent dynasty. That was.
So are you ready? Are you ready for this lineup?
Yeah, I know what it is. Yeah,
Kenny, go ahead, shoot it. Go ahead, shoot it. Let's see how close you get.
You got Lofton first, and then
I just said that, so that was unfair.
Kenny, Carlos Baerga. That was second. Who was third? After third is Reem. I know Albert Bell was fourth. Third is escaping me. Albert Bell, Eddie Murray.
I just said his name like he batted second though, just to let you know. Baerga and this guy switched spots.
Who was third? I don't know who third was.
Third was Baerga.
So who was second?
Omar.
Omar was second. Omar
Vizquel, yeah.
Okay, so it was Lofton, Vizquel, Baerga, Albert Bell, Eddie Murray. Was there Tommy 6th, Manny 7th, Manny Ramirez 8th. I don't know who 8th was. 8 and 9 I can't remember.
Sereno was not like I remember playing MLB back in the Sega days. I don't remember Sereno playing first. I always had Jim Thome at first.
Sereno was like the DH guy, or he was like the part-time.
So Murray and him flip flop.
Yeah, sometimes Murray. Yeah, Murray would play first some nights, and then Sereno would DH.
And obviously the great Sandy Alomar behind the dish.
Sandy Alomar. That's who I was forgetting. Sandy Alomar. Who's at third?
Who played third?
Third. It was Tommy at third. Tommy was at third. I think I meant first. But
Tommy was at third, and then he moved to first for a little bit.
Then he moved to first. Right. So I got it. Yeah.
I think he moved to first though in '96.
He played a lot of his career, but he started out as the third base. That's correct.
Right. Okay, so you're going over the top 25 or top 20 first basemen of 2025 coming up.
Yeah. So top 20 first baseman of 2025. Yeah. So might be a Philadelphia player there in there as well. Phillies, Dodgers.
Maybe, huh?
Maybe. Yeah, yes, sir. All right.
But hey, guys, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Josh, thanks for the comments. Um, obviously, we'll be back here on. Actually, we'll probably be back here on Saturday night after the game. I don't believe I'm going out. I know I work, so hopefully I should get out. I mean, I'll be done by 9:30, if if anything. So I should be good to go. We'll see if Rich wants to jump in too. If you want to, it's up to you. It's your show. I'm just throwing objects out there.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and y'all have a great rest of your evening. Thank you, sir.
You too, Rab. Have fun, and we will talk Saturday.
Yes, sir.